Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Today's topic is the true story about racism. Does racism exist? I'll bring down my personal experience, and it's worth mentioning this because I'm personally a person of sub-Saharan descent. I'm a Negroid, so per se, or rather, say in simple words, black. So, while racism could come in any shapes or forms, and to specify, I want to give my personal opinion on what do I think about racism. Is it a real thing? Is it a social construct? Is it something that people just make up and make us believe as the media and whatnot? Why do I mention that? Is because fortunately for me, I've been fortunate to travel to over 74 countries, different cultures, religions, customs, and beliefs. And I want to like share for you guys on what that plays on the general perspective that people have, or the sort of the things that media, mainly Western media, projects to us as people or individuals, and how that affects on the way we think. All right, get right into it. Uh, uh, One thing I can say in general is that us as human beings, this is the conclusion I've taken after traveling to over 74 countries. I'll repeat this again. My perspective on racism, I've concluded something that is sort of a side of it after traveling to over 74 countries. And the conclusion I've taken is that us as human beings in general, it doesn't matter everywhere, anywhere you go in the world, anywhere you go, we all strive for the same things. I didn't say the same thing, same things. And we are more equal than different. All right, now I have to break that down and explain in more details. What I mean is, everywhere I go, I see people waking up, going to work, striving to, get a family, raise a family, take care of their kids, prosper, have a good vehicle, have a good quality of life, build a house, have a shelter, have good food, have better conditions. Everywhere you go, it doesn't matter if it's in Africa. Although it's obvious that, depending on the places where you go, there are certain places where the rates of people that sort of have a tendency of doing things that are not constructive is also, the share is higher. But in general, we all strive for the same things. And having said that, one of the things I noticed in the Western world, and to be more specific, the US, United States of America, I think, being black, right? Being black, and also having been in Africa, having lived in Africa, having lived in North America, having lived in Asia. I didn't only travel to these countries, guys. I also lived. So one perspective I take is that people have a really, really, really disrupted and really corrupted concept of racism. For me, as what I learned, I thought racism is the thing that has to do with people looking at your physical features. Physical features. I'll emphasize this. In my mind, based on Western media and what the media says and whatnot, and what people say, stories. But my personal opinion on racism, being a black person, and what I've experienced over, several interactions with thousands of people in different places in the world. This is what I'll say. Most people around the world, I would say with no doubt, 95% of the people I've encountered, they looked for something in me that in which we had a common point. I'll say, let's say for instance, for Muslims, they asked if I was a Muslim person, and they said, when I said no, they said, maybe I can explain that to you. I could share what Islam is that. For people who like music, they asked if I like music. And for the people I've met from different cultures and races, they had a tendency of asking me about my life, and And for throughout the conversation, we'd find out that we had common points, and we would sort of connect with the people and have an experience in general. So here's where the thing comes. Here's where the point comes regarding is racism real or not. I personally, after traveling to 74 countries, several cities, interacting with several amount of people, I have never experienced racism as it's defined. For people, discriminating you based on your color, your skin color, your origins and whatnot. However, I have to mention that there's one particular thing about people who I can easily determine that they are mentally unstable and mentally their mental state is not sharp or in equilibrium. Those are the type of people that express these racial slurs and express these racial perspectives on, say, black people. However, I have to say something about these same people. When I look to their lives, the way they behave, I notice that there's a mental condition going on with all these people. So what did that give me the conclusion? It would be really rare to see a Caucasian person, say for instance a Caucasian person who has traveled, say, to South America or Africa or Asia, and being rationalizing other person, or say an African person who travels somewhere, or an Asian person who travels somewhere and puts down other people for their looks. Why? Because enlightenment, that person is enlightened, is sharp, is healthy, is smart. It's really hard for a smart person to have these thoughts generated in their brains. So in general, guys, my perspective is I don't think racism exists. Now, on how does that relate? How did all the statements I've given, or like the stories, everything I've narrated up until this point, have to do with, say, racism in the States? All right, talking about USA and racism. I know this is a sort of controversial topic, but anyways, okay. America is a country that has racial groups, and the reason, this is just my personal perspective, guys. The reason in America there's things like segregation and people don't live together has to do with spiritual state of mind, with the try for education, with order, with behavior. It has nothing to do with race. This is just my personal perspective, because certain people say, oh no, black people or white people segregate themselves from blacks because they don't like black people. I don't think that. I think in general, all right, if you look at the matrix, I'm just going to talk about the matrix. At the rate of literacy, not literacy, but academic achievements in the wide share of the population in the US is far higher as compared to black people or Hispanics. But that doesn't mean white people, don't get my point bad, like white people are better or black people are less better or black people are better. No, that's nothing to do. I don't know if it's a culture thing, it's a social thing. I don't know. I'm just talking about facts. And one thing about people who sort of strive to have educational, they tend to have, a more docile perspective to life, and more, eager like to prosper and to have better things. And it's very hard to find a common point between a person that strive for educational achievement with a person who doesn't. So in general, I'll finalize this video with conclusion is that people deal with each other depending on their beliefs and not on their looks. Thank you guys for watching. Better videos are coming up. Thank you for today. Stay tuned and see you in the next one. Bye.